I value friends and family. I value being creative and learning things. Those are the important values for me. And going through the world without doing harm and trying to do good when I can. My name is Kit Briner. Kit is my given name. I'm very proud of that. That's the greatest thing I thank my mother for. If that sounds ungrateful, sorry, Mom, but you did a good job on the name. I've had a varied career. I usually change careers about every 10 years. It's really not interesting. It's income. I always knew I wanted to be an actor since, I would say, age 4. I just knew it. It's what I wanted to do. I was attracted to it. It was something I understood at an early age. And I've been involved in performing in public since the age of, I really can't tell you if I was 7 or 8. I got a brief gig in a traveling circus. And it was the first time I performed before an audience, and it was just fantastic. It was intoxicating to have people there cheering for you. What I did in the circus was, among the unusual skills that I have, I'm very good with a bullwhip. And, target shooting like that, making loud noises with it. And I saw that there was a bullwhip act in the circus, and I went and found the people and said, do you think I could be in the show? And they laughed, and they were very sweet. And so I showed them what I could do, and they put me in the show. It was great. I don't have a lot of close friends, what I would call close friends that I say, I love you. But the value is communication and understanding and acceptance in friendships. If I have that in someone, those are my closest friends. I would say my first incredibly close friend, and I was just talking about him recently, about the age of 11. His name was Emil, and I lived in Cleveland at the time. That's in Ohio. And I was confused about his name at first because everyone called him Amo because they were from Cleveland. And his name was Emil. So anyway, we just became very fast friends, did everything together, had all the same interests. He saved my life once. I was distracted, and we were going to cross the street, and I stepped in front of a bus unknowingly, and he yanked me back to the curb, and the bus hit my ankle. But I would say that impacted my life, being saved. One of the greatest experiences I had is in high school. I went to a boarding school that was more or less a performing arts school. And they would hire theater professionals to come in and work on our shows with us. And what was the show we were doing? It was The Boyfriend. And I played Percival Brown. I always had to play the father. I never got the leading man in high school because I had a deep voice. In any event, the show was directed by Ray Bolger. For anyone who doesn't know, Ray Bolger played the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. And he was the first one to really impress me with just absolute genius in his work. And this is how he did it. The first time he met with us, the cast was in a classroom, and we were waiting for him. And he walked into the room. And just by walking into the room and standing in front of us, we were on the floor laughing. Because how do you explain genius? He walked in being funny. And it was so clear. It was astounding. To describe it, you can't imagine. But you've seen people in film, you've seen people on stage, you see comedians, they just have an expression on their face that's perfect, that describes what's happening in a depth that there aren't words to describe, you only understand it. That's genius. And so as we composed ourselves and stopped laughing, he said, "Oh, I must be in the wrong place." We laughed again because he said it in a really funny way. And he left. And he came in again. And in another way, put us on the floor laughing. I've never forgotten that. He did that 3 times. And then he discussed with us how he would direct the show and lecture about comic timing and being in character, and how the best comedy comes from character and not from screaming loud and falling on the floor hard. Oh my God, you must hear this all the time. You know, when I was a boy, we had one telephone in the house, and everyone would race to answer it when the phone rang, because it was such a wonderful thing. And we had a party line, and that meant that each person's phone had a distinct ring. And of course, the telephone was an activity when you had a party line, because you would listen in, and everyone got to know everyone. So I would say, even going back to my parents' time, this was a huge impact on the culture. First, there was telegraph, well before my time. And then the telephone. And people didn't trust the telephone at first, because the main feeling was, why can't we walk down the street and talk to our friends? You know, why can't we talk face to face? Why does it have to be on an electric device? And so it was not trusted for a long time. And at first it became a valuable business tool, then it became a necessity. And now, with the way technology is exploding, what concerns people of my generation is that the culture can't keep up with the technology, and it doesn't have a chance to find its place. So we're, in general, a broad general stroke, my generation is worried about the lack of face-to-face communication. However, all the young people I meet don't fit into that stereotype. I do know young people who are apparently glued to the phone and who look at the screen a lot, but when you speak with them, they look at you in the eye and you have a conversation. So I'm not terribly worried about that. I have great confidence in the younger generation. One of my favorite rants is that this is a universal thing, every generation. Every generation is concerned about the next generation. You can find ancient Greek writings, I wish I could think of who it was who wrote it, who was in despair because the younger generation did not listen to authority, and they had weird ideas, and clearly our species was doomed. So I think that's kind of cute. You know, I think we're going to be fine. I do think that young people need to see the technology as useful tools and don't lose, be aware, and don't lose the value of human contact. And for me, human contact is what the theater's all about. And in terms of communication with each other, face to face, it's just a wonderful art form because it's ultimate communication. You're not just having a conversation, you're telling a story, and you're sharing it with a group of people. The actors and the people who make the play and put it on, and the audience is the most fantastic symbiotic relationship that ever existed. Theater is as old as our species.